Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dice Cast. I am Russell Sun, and this is with me. I have.
Fishman.
Well, last we left off, Aquans and Jonas had just finished gathering some materials when they went to town, and they found that Edith's estate, the woman who died during the to the larvae that invaded the plateau, was up for sale, and they decided to take advantage of the auction, as it were.
Yeah. Serious advantage of it.
Yes, during which they acquired a few items of interest, including an atlas of maps off the plateau, and some new magic items. During this time, also Jonas decided to send his owl off of the plateau to investigate a plume of smoke in the distance, where they saw a village adjacent to a river in the far distance.
Yeah, quite distant.
However, also during this time, a giant hermit crab rose out of the lake and invaded the village during one of Mithras's festivals. During this time, our party was forced into the front lines and were forced to use their magic publicly to slay the beast, thus resulting in their secret being outed.
Publicly, yes.
Yes. And that's really it, I think. That's all that really happened last time.
We didn't really pay for everything that we got from the auction, but that's all right.
Well, that's something lots of D&D parties tend to avoid.
Especially when you don't have much in the way of money.
All right, in that case, I'll pass it over to you for the start of today's adventure.
Right. As the curtain goes up on our adventuring party today, we are actually not in the village. We are heading back from Ren's place, who is our mentor. The reason why we went there is we have acquired some new spells. We wrote some stuff down. And Aquans wanted to try out his new Identify spell.
Yes.
And some of the things we acquired at the auction were crystal figurines that are engraved with a figure of an animal and an activation phrase. But to be able to use them, you need to identify them so you know what the phrase is. Aquans wanted two of them. The two that he wanted were the scorpion and the wasp.
Yes.
So those are now in your possession.
Yes, I do have those.
And we are now on our way back from Ren's place to the village because you want to go and see our dwarven blacksmith friend.
Yes. In addition to acquiring the Predacon gemstones, as I refer to them.
Oh yes, Scorponok and Waspinator.
During our last session, we also began using my transcribing kit and using materials to transcribe spells into our new spellbook. And during that time, I found that the quill I have is working fine for the moment, but it's probably going to be a little tiresome, I thought, to have to continuously get new feathers as this one gets worn down. So I was thinking that it would be a good idea to acquire a stylus, a proper writing stylus, which is basically just a pen, for all intents and purposes, which is dipped in ink and used to inscribe that way.
So, that is the reason why we're going back to the village.
Yes, because you said that the blacksmith, Alberich, would be the most likely person to be able to make such a tool.
I think on the plateau, he is pretty much the only person who can do this.
All right. So we're on our way back then.
We're on our way back. I'm going to... Oh, an interesting number. I would like you to roll a perception check for me, please.
Oh no, it started already.
I know. It'll take a perception as a skill. You know that.
22.
What?
19 plus 3.
Wow. All right. We are heading back towards town. We're most of the way there. Hold on a second. I'll scroll this up a little bit.
If this is another cockatrice.
Believe it or not, is roughly in the same place.
Oh no, they're nesting.
Yeah, as they're coming down through here. You notice a number of small mounds of dirt Um, I think- hold on a sec. 4 of them.
4 of them. Okay.
4 mounds of dirt, kind of spread out a little bit off the side of our, well, we're the only ones that use this thing, but
Yeah.
the path that we travel,
Yes.
off to the side, about 20 feet off in the bush, they're about this big around. They're little mounds of dirt.
Do they look like something like gopher holes or something? Like the small animal might have...
You can't tell, even with a 22 it's too far away. It is like 20 yards off. I mean, the DC for this is going to be really quite high. I'm actually impressed that you found them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to push my luck then, and I'm going to try and approach these quietly, just to get a closer look.
Oh, a stealth check. I love them. I guess I better roll one, too.
If you want to come.
Well,
12.
I got a 5.
Sorry?
I got a 5.
Oh, I have a 12.
So, as a party check, that's probably about halfway in between. Anyway.
Depends on what the passive perception of this is.
Well, they're mounds of dirt. There's no real perception for them. As you get closer to it, you see that they are literally just a little mound of dirt. A lot of the leaves have been disturbed all the way around it. It looks like... roll an investigation check. We'll start there. We'll see how well this works.
$16.
Okay, it looks like something cleared the area, dug a hole, and then filled it in 4 times. And also, you notice off to the side, which probably helped you figure this all out, there is a freshly dug hole with a mound of dirt beside it.
All right. I'm going to take a look in this hole.
You look in the hole,
Yes.
and it's a hole.
Okay.
Looks like it would hold something of small size. Like nothing bigger than about like this, It's
Okay. I don't have a... I don't have a shovel.
no one carries a shovel with them.
No, I know.
Isn't there a spell called Move Earth?
Sorry?
Isn't there a spell called Move Earth? Druid spell or something later on?
There's a cantrip called Mold Earth, I believe.
I know there used to be one anyway.
Yeah, I don't have it.
No.
I have Shape Water. And Prestidigitation.
Unless you want to get your kitty cat Alice to start digging a hole for you, you're going to have to use your hands or just ignore it.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in our previous adventures, ever since the incident with the small gelatinous blobs that nearly killed you.
You got to keep mentioning that every 5 minutes, aren't you?
Yes, it's my sleep scroll.
Okay.
Aquans has habitually started wearing the gloves that she carries on him whenever he goes out adventuring, just as a safety precaution.
No, actually, you did mention that.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot then. Well, now now you people have been reminded twice.
Yeah.
I'm going to try using my hands just to brush aside one of the mounds of dirt.
Okay.
It looks like something's been buried here.
Roll a d4.
Roll a d4. Okay.
Well, there are 4 of them.
3.
Okay, so you start digging. It is loose dirt.
Yep.
It hasn't really been packed in hard at all, and you manage to dig down. It's going to take a few minutes. You find as you get down, you come to something feathered.
Feathered?
Yeah, feathered. Something has been buried here that has feathers.
Okay. Can I try and lift whatever this is out?
Sure.
Okay.
You have to dig around a little bit more, and then you can pull it out.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Roll a dex check for me, please.
Natural 1.
Okay.
Plus
This
1
is
at
gonna...
that.
That doesn't matter.
No, it's a natural 1. That's an auto fail.
You actually do manage to get this out because it's not really that challenging. It's just going to take you a while. I guess maybe you're just thinking cockatrice in your head or something. And you do notice that this
Well,
thing
it does have feathers.
It does have feathers. You do eventually get it out.
This is exactly where we fought the last one.
Yeah. Well,
And you nearly spent a day as a statue.
Yes. It is a chicken.
It's a chicken. Is it dead?
You can roll a nature check on it if you like, or is that a medicine check?
I mean, I assume it's medicine.
Alright.
I don't know why I'm asking for medicine. I have nature. You have medicine.
I'll do the medicine check. It's covered in dirt. It's hard to tell.
It was buried, though.
Yes, it was buried. It is warm, but it's hard to find. I can't tell if there's a pulse or anything. Or
Can I attempt a medicine check?
Go for it.
All right, medicine's wisdom, so that's a 15.
This is a very odd thing. You're fairly certain it's alive, but there's no physical responses that you're getting.
So, wait. The kobolds have some sort of new paralytic / numbing potion that they've been working on. Yes. I've experienced that and seen its effects. Does this look similar?
The numbing effect from the kobold's little potion might render paralysis
or unconscious,
but it would require. Well, these are small creatures, so possible, but you're not certain.
Okay, I say to you. Well, I think we should bring this chicken into town.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to leave it buried here in the dirt to die.
There are 3 other holes. So you just want to bring that chicken in?
And your point is you're the good aligned character, not me.
It's a chicken. It doesn't have anything to do with alignment. Do you want to dig up the other 3 holes, or you want to head to town?
We really aren't on a time schedule yet. Apart from the fact that
you don't want to get there too late in the day, but other than that, yeah, it's morning. You've got time if you want to dig up.
Yes, let's. I'm going to ask you to help me so we can go a little faster on the other ones.
All right, so we're going to take a bit of time.
Yep.
And at the end of which we dig up 3 more chickens.
And in the same condition?
One is a little bit different.
Uh-oh.
We think it is the one that's been there the longest because it seemed... the dirt seemed to be a little bit more settled. Roll a nature check.
Here's my nature proficiency. 12.
All right. This wasn't going to be a high DC. It looks alive, the same as all the others, but it seems to be in a worse state. It's not as whole as the others. It seems to be a little shrunken in. And every now and then, it spasms.
I want to just look these over and see if this is... I think this is an effect of a spell or some other form of magic that it might be, because this is unusual.
All right, go for an Arcana check.
16.
If this is a spell, it is nothing you've ever seen. You are not familiar at all with this.
No. This is odd.
Okay, we are, as I said, in this little copse of trees here just outside the village.
Mm-hmm.
It's at about this time you hear a very high-pitched scream. And I would like you to roll a perception check to see if you can identify what it is.
I'm rolling quite well in perception today. 21.
This sounds almost exactly like a little girl screaming.
Which was not my first thing that came to my mind, because we fought a creature that screamed before.
She's terrified. And shortly after it starts, it abruptly ends.
Alright, let's head in that direction.
Right, which is basically just towards the village. So we were roughly here,
Yeah.
and now we're heading here. What kind of pace do you want to set?
Quickly, and I don't want to bring the chickens. We'll leave them here.
Okay. We leave the chickens, and we run towards the village. Roll a constitution check for me, please. I'll do the same. God, I'm rolling really bad today.
10.
Oh, slightly worse than you. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little winded here for some reason. I don't know why. It's just having a bad day. I'm lagging a little bit behind, so you're leading.
What was in that breakfast Ren gave us?
I don't know, but it's really slowing me down. It's at this point in time, you hear some other voices from the village, and they're definitely agitated. People are upset about something, and you hear also a buzzing sound.
Okay. Is that coming from the same direction?
Direction we're heading.
Okay,
Yes.
well, let's keep going then.
So, a couple of moments later, actually, almost like less than a minute after you hear that sound, you see an object heading towards you and flying towards you.
Okay.
And it looks like a large wasp, hornet. It's hard to describe. It's quite big, bigger than anything you've ever seen before. And it is carrying a small hobbit child.
Okay. My first instinct is, so there were two of these things then. Does this look like the same? It doesn't look crystalline like the creatures summoned from the stones.
No, this looks like an actual, real, living thing. You can do a nature check if you want.
I assume it's a giant wasp, but I will. It's another 16. I keep rolling 16s today on intelligence checks.
Yep, this is a giant wasp, and from that roll, you also know that it is a parasitic wasp.
Oh, that's not pleasant. How high is this thing flying?
The child is pretty much max for this as carrying capacity. The chickens are a little bit better, but even though this is a young hobbit, it's still easily 3 times the weight of a chicken, and it is struggling, and it's barely clearing the ground. You're looking at maybe 2-3 feet up, and it is kind of like it is having a difficulty. It's actually not moving very quickly.
Okay. I'm going to hit this thing with frostbite then.
All right, so let's go for some initiatives.
Okay, we're going for initiative first then? Fine. Natural 20!
Alright, wow. Okay.
So that puts me at 21.
About a 13. Alright. Apparently, the wasp hasn't seen you. It is struggling to hold this child up. And what's the range on your spell?
Frostbite? 60 feet.
Alright, so I take it you're the second it's in range, you're going to hit it.
Yes, and I am going to take a slight chance here and use one of my portents, which were pretty bad. But I'm going to give it a 10 because it's the lowest I can give it.
Okay.
So the roll on the die would be 10 plus whatever its constitution is.
And your spell save DC is?
14.
Well, that will be a fail.
Okay. Ooh! I'm doing quite well at the moment. 6 points of cold damage.
Alright.
Where did the wasp land on the initiative?
Dead last.
Dead. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it got a 5. It actually rolled a 3, but it has a bit of dexterity. Alright. Fortunately, it is going very low to the ground.
Yeah,
because
that was a concern.
when you hit it with frost bite,
Yep.
It immediately drops the child, which is only a couple feet off the ground. And it is leaf litter and mulm and stuff, so it was not really much of an impact for her, and it actually doesn't involve any kind of damage.
Okay.
Alright. That is going to be a surprise round, because it was unaware of your presence.
Okay.
But it is now.
So don't you also get to do something on a surprise round?
I'm still about 30, 40 feet back.
Oh, never mind.
I'm now catching up. And we're at the top of the initiative round, which is you.
It was me again. Okay.
The first thing you notice is now that it's not carrying the child, it is much faster.
Much faster. Okay.
It seems to be zipping around a lot more, and you're up.
I just want to be clear, that's another Beast Wars reference.
Yeah, I know.
The wasp taking a little girl. Okay, well, I don't want this thing to lay larvae in a small halfling child.
It lays eggs, and then they hatch.
Yes, and then they eat whatever they are implanted in.
They eat them alive, yes. Then they burrow in through their skin, so yeah, it is not fun.
Yes. Everyone calls these things nature's xenomorphs, a magic missile.
Alright. You don't have to roll anything to hit, so...
No, that's why I'm doing that. Admittedly, I don't have any attack roll spells, but still. Right, 12 points of force damage.
Lord! That's almost max! Alright. You obliterate this thing. It wasn't that strong! It's... There's nothing left. Well, yeah. It's been punched full of holes. Yeah. It is... You can go and scrape the local leaf mulm for bits and pieces out of it if you like.
No, I'm fine. I'll leave the...
It's gone.
Yep.
I rush over during my initiative, and I am going to check on the child.
Yep.
Oh, my numbers have finally forgiven me for whatever I had done to them. She is alive. She is paralyzed.
Uh-oh.
So I immediately check her over. I don't find any eggs.
Okay, that's good, because I have absolutely no idea how to remove those.
They're just laid on the skin, and then the thing is buried, and then when the egg hatches, it burrows. It is disgusting, yes, but they don't... You know from your nature check that the wasp doesn't lay the eggs until it has secured whatever it's going to use as its
food
host in the hole. So I was fairly certain we weren't going to find any eggs anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to use my med kit and see if I can revive her.
Okay.
I don't really have anything specific as an anti-paralytic, but I am going to roll a medicine check here and see if I can use my med kit and hopefully get her semi-conscious, or at least alleviate some of the poison.
Okay, then.
No. We're going to have to bring her back to the village.
I said, I think we should take her to your mom.
Yeah, she's much more skilled at this. All right, so she's very light.
Yep.
I'll carry her, and we head towards the village. The second we clear here, we run into a group of very concerned villagers.
Okay.
Obviously, a number of hobbits and the mom and dad of the poor child. And they are first really upset because their child looks like limp, and we explain to her that she's okay, and then
and I say, creature's dead. Don't worry, we're taking the child to get treatment.
Yeah, so we are surrounded by a mob of people as we head towards Mom's place, which I will change the map now.
Also, as a side note, again, if Brun was trying to induce the idea that this plateau is a safe haven from the rest of the world, it's not working. Literally everything horrible happens here so far.
Yeah. So we're going to take the little child
This
here.
is the fourth thing that's come onto the plateau and tried to kill somebody.
Yep. And I'm sure they're going to blame it all on us. Anyway. I am going to roll a medicine check for my mom to revive this poor child. She doesn't really have anything, again, as anti-paralytic, but we managed to get her stabilized and start getting some physical responses, but she's going to take some time to recover.
I assume that eventually this venom does run its course.
Yes. It will run its course. It's not designed, well, evolution or whatever hasn't designed this poison for larger creatures. I think this wasp was just, being a little ambitious and taking a child.
Yes.
One thing I want to point out at this point, though, is there are 3 most likely infected or eggs and whatever you want to call it, impregnated chickens in the forest.
Oh. Yes. I'm going to go back there.
You go take care of that. I'm going to help my mom with the child.
I completely forgot about the chickens.
We don't want 3 more of these wasps. Let's just put it that way.
No, I'm going to expose each of them to frostbite. Which, if anything, I know anything about insects is they really do not like extreme cold.
Alright, so you can do that until you're satisfied that they're dead.
Yeah.
You are going to notice that the one that seemed a little bit more,
Shrunken?
worn, shrunken, deteriorated, it has a fairly substantial larva already developing.
I do not spare that one.
Yeah, so...
In case you were wondering, I just rolled damage on frostbite all those times. It was 5, 3, 6, 6.
Yeah, you'll notice the last 2 of them are just eggs. They haven't even hatched yet. They're right on the surface. You can just actually pick them off and squish them if you like, or frostbite them. Doesn't matter.
I'm frostbiting them all. And then I will crush them if I have to. But
yeah. Alright, so they're all taken care of. And I take you head back to town. Alright. By the time you get back, at Mom's, there's only the 2 parents. And they're obviously going to stay around until their child is actually functional again. And everyone else seems to have gone back to their day.
okay.
What do you want to do?
Well, we did actually have something that we were going to be doing, so let's go talk to Alberich.
Well, it's only across the street, so we go to the door here and go over to talk to Alberich.
Yep.
Funny thing is, as we approach, he actually waves to us and bids us to come over.
Okay, way back. I mean, as far as I know, we aren't exactly on unfriendly terms with him.
Oh no, he's he is actually one of the more level-headed individuals in town, and he has quite well aware of the positive things we've done here, and unlike certain individuals, is not blaming us for everything bad happens in the world. But the thing is, he wants us to come over because he has some very odd news.
Okay, we come over.
As you know, this is him speaking now. Fairly regularly, I do an excursion to the northern end of the island to mine some ore. One of those expeditions is actually coming up tomorrow, and I had an unusual visitor and request, which I think I should bring to your attention. Father Gregor came to see me this morning, and
Okay.
he had...
I said, okay.
He doesn't normally do that. He is, as you know, not the best of individuals for talking to non-humans. He has issues. But anyway, he was actually pleasant, which kind of made my skin crawl. He had a suggestion. He knew that we were... that I was planning this, and I usually bring like a couple members of the watch, or 3 or 4, depending upon, how much ore I want to bring back, because I bring everyone that goes brings an empty backpack, and I load them up with as much ore as they can handle as we bring it back. And usually I like to have at least 2 or 3, sometimes 4 members of the watch come along, also for protection, especially with the kobolds. He suggested that I enlist you two. I understand, and actually we really like your help. I understand that you guys have done an awful lot of good for the village, dealing with any number of things, which I think that little mob of people that came by and were all really happy and happy that the child was saved has something to do with you guys as well.
And a giant parasitic wasp.
Yes, so I am quite happy to have you along. The problem in my mind is not that, but the fact that Father Gregor has suggested it. I don't know what to make of that. I don't get involved in the politics up here, other than the fact that I put in my 2 cents with the council for, some decisions on it, simply because I've lived here for so long.
True. Well, we were actually coming to talk to you about something specifically. I have tend to do a bit of writing in my work, and I was interested in seeing a stylus fashioned, and I understood you would be the only one in town really to be able to make such an object.
So he talks to you for a few moments about it and comes to the conclusion that what you want is basically like a calligraphy pen.
Yes.
Basically a pen that has a metal nib on it that won't wear down. You don't have to sharpen it and stuff like that.
Yes.
And he says, well, yeah, that's definitely within my skill set. I do make fine stuff for the people of the village, and I have no problem doing that. I suspect, considering the way things have been presented, that if you help me on my expedition here, I'll consider that payment for the job.
That was what I was going to suggest myself. So yes, that seems to work out fine. The only thing that is odd is the one who suggested us joining your little expedition.
Yes, because he also wants his son to come along as one of the people.
Oh, joy.
Yeah. I know he looks at me specifically when he says this. He has not been the favorite of either of you. He is a problem. But I suspect, and don't take this for anything more than what I'm saying, because, again, I don't get into the politics. Something is probably afoot. I don't know what it is. But, again, because of all the cobalt issues lately, I am more than happy to have you two along. I would feel actually much safer that way.
Well, we'll happily come along with you. We will begrudgingly accept Bilious, and who I suspect is probably going to be Phineas and Lobelia.
Usually that. All right. Excuse me. He suggested Bilious come along. I don't know why, but as far as the rest of the watch members, it usually depends on whatever duty roster is involved. So it's kind of going to be a random.
Okay.
Rest of them. So, all that said, seeing how we are in agreement on you guys coming along, tomorrow morning, crack of dawn, we're going to head out.
Okay.
So, whatever you need to get ready. He has the backpacks there. Just meet here, and everyone will get handed a backpack, and we'll head out.
Well, the only thing I really want to is just stock up on some supplies, really. We have...
right.
I do have a mess kit. We can my explorer's pack and a water skin. It probably wouldn't be too hard to make sure those are filled.
You have... Well, it's roughly about noon now, so you have a day.
Yeah.
They don't... the only reason why they didn't head out, today is because of all the excitement, and he wasn't quite ready for it.
That's fine. Yeah, I just want to get... it says I have a mess kit with 10 days worth of rations or food, so I think I'm...
Yeah, you can get some cheese, hardtack, salted meats, all that stuff's available at the general store, and you can fill up, obviously, your water skin. There's a well in town, and
there's a river right in the lake right there.
Yeah, but people usually don't like to drink river water for some reason. I know, being a water person, you're probably more accustomed to it than everyone else. But anyway, in the general store, there is a barrel that you can fill your water skin from. Well,
that's really the only thing I want to do. I can't think of many other supplies, though I now realize us having that giant wasp crystal is probably not going to be the best thing, so I'm probably not going to be using that anytime soon.
Yeah, it may cause some panic with some of the locals, that's for sure. All right. If there's nothing else you want to do, we'll fast forward till tomorrow morning.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to get my spell slot back. I got used.
You get your spell slot back. You'll have had a long rest.
Yep.
You will heal from all of your injuries from that grueling battle with the wasp, and we can head out.
Slightly better.
Dawn of a new day. We've had breakfast, and we exit Mom's house and cross the courtyard to Alberich's blacksmith shop. And we notice as we cross, he's there, and Bilious is there, of course. There's a watch member that we're not terribly familiar with. We've seen them around, but we don't really know them by name. And then there is one of Bilious' cronies there, Lobelia.
Okay.
So,
not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of actual conversation happening here. Everyone seems kind of, well, not really awake to start off with, because this is just the crack of dawn. There's a bit of mist on the ground. It is a little cool. Alberich is all business. He hands everyone this big leather backpack, which is empty at the moment.
It won't be on the way back.
It won't be on the way back. There's going to be some constitution checks on the way back. The only other thing you notice is different is the watch members seem to all have a couple of javelins each, which is not something they normally have around town. But you also know that they will take any opportunity to shoot some game if they have that chance. If there's a deer or something like that.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to...
marching.
I'll put the backpack on.
Yep.
And I guess we're heading out then.
Yeah, it's empty. It weighs a few pounds.
Okay.
Yes, again, not much in the way of conversation. The marching order that Alberich sets us out in is he's going to be in the front because he knows where he's going. Bilious has been along before. a number of times on these expeditions, so he's up there too.
Yeah.
Then it's us, and then taking up the rear are the other two guards.
Okay.
And we head this
East.
way out of town. East. And let's move back to here. There we go.
Yeah.
So we're going to head out of town, and there's a path he takes that takes us up. And this whole section is pretty monotonous. There's really not much here. They're hoping to possibly get a deer, but most likely they want to do that on the way back because they don't want to haul a carcass all the way up.
Of course, you and I know that there is something else there.
Yeah. They don't know where it is.
No, we are not
going to
pointing
point
it
it
out.
out. The destination for mining is just south of this, what looks like to be an active volcano. It is actually not currently smoking or lava or anything like that. It's just the most recent activity from the mountain was from there. So we're going to head around here because there's a lot of ore.
Yeah. And that's also
so
Cobalt territory.
It is definitely in Cobalt territory. They try to steer mostly like as far north as possible, but we know we've met them
On the opposite end of that mountain range.
Yep, and we've been told by our mentor that as soon as you get into any of the mountain sections here, they are a presence. They consider that their territory. Hence, all the people we're bringing with us.
It's all the extra firepower.
Yes.
This is also probably going to be one of our longer excursions in the wilderness.
You possibly. I've spent days out in the woods because of looking for things for herbs and mushrooms and stuff for Mom.
Yeah, well, at least in recent memory, then.
Yes. Since we became wizards, this is definitely going to be the longest time that we've spent trekking through the wilderness. The pace we're taking is actually fairly relaxed. It's not fast because, and even though initially this is not what I would call, either treacherous terrain or much in the way of things to worry about, all the recent events have put everyone on edge. So we're taking our time, definitely making sure we're keeping an eye out for everything. And on top of that, because our secret is now out anyway, my owl is going to be up and circling and keeping an eye out as well.
I guess I'll have Alice out and she can walk beside me then.
All right. So that will give us 4 more eyes.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to do a little bit of a fast forward because
this is going to be a long...
This is really actually turns out to be quite uneventful.
So are we going to be doing any checks on the way there? Or
at this point, not. I mean, I can make you roll a dozen checks, but they don't mean anything.
Okay.
And I know you don't want to go making a dozen perception checks for nothing.
No.
All right.
All right.
We are eventually going to get to... I have no idea where this is, so I'm going to click through it. Oh, there we go.
How long does it take us to get here?
All right, so we are there. Okay, this has taken the better part of the day.
Okay.
We have been now marching for actually almost 8 hours.
So we're nearing the point where we're going to need to rest.
Yes, we are just outside of this particular area here. And Alberich says, okay, this is where the terrain starts to get a lot more rough. There's a ravine that we're going to head through here shortly. Well, this. You don't quite see this yet. I suggest that we camp here because there's actually a bit of an overhang for the night. Because even though it's only, we started around dawn, if we push on, we're going to be tired, and there's a chance of cobalts from now on. And even though the sun's still up, it is getting to the point now where it will be behind the mountains a little bit, so it could be dark here. And kobolds are a little light sensitive. He seems actually really quite knowledgeable at kobolds. So having them have that disadvantage is really good for us.
He's
so.
probably encountered them before.
Oh yeah, they don't do a whole lot of attacks on his little bands that go up, but every now and then they test them out, and he's had quite a bit of experience with them. And he doesn't want to go into here until we're rested and the sun is definitely up. So,
all right. Well, I add to myself, just because we seem to keep doing lots of Beast Wars references, this is a great place for an ambush.
Yes. So we're going to camp.
So we're setting up camp. Okay. Well, I'm definitely, because this is a great place for an ambush, I am going to take out the tiny bell I have on a silver thread, and I am just going to. I'll just explain to Alberich and the others. I'm just going to set up an alarm spell as a perimeter. Basically, it'll alert us if anyone beyond the members of the group trips it. Just gives us a bit of a warning.
All right. That gives you some. All right.
Get this down. Forgot to do that earlier. All right. Alarm. Just looking up the area I can ward with that. There. So it has to be a 20-foot cube. Has to be the biggest.
Okay.
So I'm just going to... Basically, I'm just going to make a 20-foot perimeter around our camp with it then.
Well, we are in an overhang, so you can just do it around the front end of it.
I'll ward as much as our camp as we can with it then.
Yeah. I want you to roll a perception check for me, please.
Okay. Is this with my cat's advantage or just me?
Just you.
Natural 1.
All right. So much for that. When you start describing what you're doing and the magic involved, Bilious looks really uncomfortable. He's not a happy person. You know he's not a happy person to begin with, but this whole concept of seeing magic being used and in the open, from his upbringing.
His father is a cleric!
Yes, but that is divine magic. This is tainted and evil.
Well, if he takes any issues, I'll just say, well, weigh it up against that or being killed by kobolds in your sleep.
Oh, he's not saying anything to you. He's actually seems kind of weird, wary of both of us. But he seems maybe a little bit more nervous than usual. It's hard to say. There's something going on in his brain, but
okay,
who knows?
Well, that's his business. Okay, I have to ritual cast this, so it takes 10 minutes.
Sure. There is plenty of time. We're going to have a small fire. We're going to cook some food. Knock off 2 meals off of your rations.
2 meals, wow.
Well, 1 for lunch, 1 for supper, and then you're going to knock off another 1 for breakfast. So 3 meals.
Yeah.
And then I am going to...
See, now my question here is...
roll some numbers.
My question here is, my Explorer's Pack came with a mess kit with 10 days worth of food.
Yes.
So I don't have that written in meals. I have it 10 days. Is that 3? So is that just 1 day, then?
Yeah, it's a day's worth of food. Consider a day's worth of food is always 3 meals. Because you can ration yourself a little bit if you want. Like just have 2 meals a day and stretch that out more, but I don't think we're going to need to.
I also give Alice some.
Okay. Alright. Your alarm spell does not go off. We are keeping watches.
Yep.
Albrecht, during his watch, wakes you and I up. And he is Bilious and Lobelia are asleep. He gently wakes us up and Oh, sorry. I guess I shouldn't whisper.
No.
He is whispering. he's whispering to us that he's fairly certain that we're being watched by most likely kobolds at the moment. There's a small fire still going. Your alarms have not gone off, but they are much closer to us. They don't seem to be approaching. Is there anything you want to do?
Alright, I say to you, your owl could fly in there and scout for us.
Alright. So what I'll do is I'll have my owl fly up and do a circle and see what she sees.
An owl in the woods at night, that seems completely normal. The kobolds probably shouldn't take notice of that.
They may just shoot an owl just because. Alright. I have a natural 20 on my perception roll for the owl. She notices a definite presence of kobolds. I'm going to peer through her eyes, and there is a... I guess you'd call it like a small either scouting or raiding party of kobolds. There's only 4 of them. They are up... Well, they're up in the rocks on the other side of... This is like, we're at the beginning of the ravine. They're on the other side, and they're up in the rocks, and they're watching. They... Oh, actually, I want to see if they actually even see my owl. No, they're intent on watching us. They don't notice her at all. They aren't actually going anywhere at the moment. They sit there.
Alright, so I assume you're going to relate this to us.
Yes. I'll tell you there's 4 kobolds. 2 of them have slings. 2 of them have their usual daggers. And they are sitting up in the rocks. They are quietly talking to each other. I don't understand kobold, so I couldn't tell you what it was. But they don't seem to be taking any action at the moment. What do you want to do?
Alright. Well... So how far away are they?
Okay, the ravine at this part is fairly wide. So we're looking at about maybe 80, 90 feet, give or take a bit, from side to side. We are at one side, underneath an overhang. They're on the other side, but they're up a bunch of rocks, so they're probably close to 90, 100 feet away.
Okay, so it's pretty far.
Yes. They're not going to be able to snipe us with slings from that distance.
No.
That is an extreme long range for them. They might want to try. I don't know. At the moment, they're just sitting there.
Okay. Well, they haven't done anything yet.
No. I guess we just wait and see what happens at the moment. All right. Only 2 people should be up at any given time. That way we all get our long rest. It is coming to the end of Alberich's watch. He does want to stay up a little bit longer. He sends the other watch member to sleep and suggests that one of us go back and try and get some rest.
Okay.
So, who do you want to stay up?
I'll stay up.
All right. So, some time goes by. Nothing happens. I wake up for my watch a couple hours later. I have my owl do the circuit, and they're no longer there.
Okay.
At some point during the last couple hours, they wandered off.
All right, then.
It is now my watch, so you get to stay up another 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then the last watch is going to be Bilious and Abelia, and by that point in time, the sun will be up.
Okay. My Alice is going to keep a watchful eye around camp as well because she does not have to sleep.
Sure, and so will my owl.
Because I don't exactly trust those two.
Yeah, I should give her a name at some point. All right. Yes, that is actually very prudent to keep an eye on those two. I don't think they're actually going to do anything really stupid at this point because of the kobolds and everything else, but yeah, you never know. Bilious is a bit of a loose cannon.
Yep.
All right, so sun comes up. We have breakfast. Is there anything else you want to do before we head out besides roll your portents?
Oh, that's right. No, I'm going to do that now.
All right.
Those are about 10s.
Middle of the road numbers again?
One was a 10, one was a 6.
Yeah. All right. I would like you to roll a perception check with advantage, please.
Glad it was neither of those.
Good.
Natural 20.
All right. Both of our familiars and yourself notice something really weird with the ground. There seems to be some sort of almost subsonic sound coming from it.
The ground is vibrating.
There seems to be a feel that you're getting from it. Yes, that it's not exactly, well, solid like it was the day before. Something odd's happening with it. But you can't really put any more of a firm grip on it than that.
Okay,
Just
well,
something.
I relate this to you, and I say I think we should get off the ground.
Oh no, giant subterranean worms are coming!
Well, we need to reference something else eventually.
Yeah. I actually noticed it as well. It rolled really quite high. Don't think it's anything under the ground. Like, not like a creature, if that's what you're thinking.
What are the odds that volcano has become a bit more active?
If that volcano goes off, it doesn't matter if we're on the ground or not.
No. This is just a thought that came to me.
All right. This puts everyone out even more on edge than they have been all along. We get ready,
Yep.
and there's no reason not to continue.
Okay, so all 6 of us
All right.
head on?
All 6 head on, and now we actually do get to see this section as we head into this ravine.
Okay.
This perspective is not really the best for showing how steep these walls are. This side here is actually a lot more steep than it appears here. It is almost vertical.
Okay.
This side here is definitely a jumble of loose rock and tumbled down stuff. Both sides are actually still quite high. It's well above our heads. And it is probably not until about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning that the sun is high enough that we actually head out, because otherwise we'd be in the shadows down here, and kobolds are quite happy in the semi-dark. So
Okay then.
we head out. We start heading through the ravine, and about a third of the way through, you notice the ground is actually beginning to noticeably shake. It is definitely vibrating now.
Okay, is this an earthquake?
I don't know if there's ever been any earthquakes up here. There must have been. Roll a nature check.
8.
You're not sure.
Probably haven't experienced any
But
earthquakes.
fortunately, not too much longer, another couple minutes later, the question is resolved for you when it all of a sudden massively shakes. The ground is now heaving almost. There's some fissures forming, and I need you to roll a dexterity saving throw, please. And I will do the same for everybody else. Those are some horrible numbers.
Oh, well, I have an unnatural 20. Total of 20, sorry.
All right. You are not thrown to the ground.
Should I roll for my cat? Should I roll for Alice?
Go for it.
She also has a total of 20.
Good for her.
Try knocking a cat to the ground.
I know, eh? You take 3 hit points of damage.
Oh, I take damage?
From falling rocks.
Okay.
Which is better than pretty much half the party who are taking 6.
You had me roll for
Including
Alice.
me.
Does she take the damage?
I didn't have you roll. I was hoping you were going to pop her out of this realm. She takes 3 points of damage.
She's gone. That is her hit point total.
Yes, our party is slightly damaged by this.
What about your owl? Oh, wait, your owl was airborne.
Owl flies. Like I said, the ground begins to really shake. There are fissures opening up. Rocks are falling all around us. We are hit by a few of them. But the most important thing you'll notice, just up the ravine, the wall trembles quite a bit, and then the whole side of the ravine on the right side collapses into the ravine on the bottom.
But not on us, crucially.
Oh. Not on us, fortunately. The other thing you notice is there's actually smoke coming from that volcano now.
I called it.
You called it.
So am I the only one on the feet who's on their feet at the moment?
Well, Alberich, being rather low to the ground, also manages to
Okay.
save.
So he also made the save. Okay.
Everyone else flat on their backs, and everyone takes 6 except you and Alberich, who took 3. Mm-hmm. Ow.
Okay.
All right.
I said that was not fun.
You also notice one other thing. Where that section of wall fell, section of ravine wall fell, there seems to be a hole there.
Okay, there's a hole now.
Yeah. The earthquake is now subsiding.
Is it? All right. I looked to Alberich. This is technically his expedition, so I'm going to look to him to see if he wants to continue.
Earthquakes have happened before. It is a bit of a problem being in the ravine, so I suggest we continue out of the ravine, and then we should be fine after that. Okay. Unless we get another bigger earthquake.
Okay. I am going to point out the hole, so it's like a cave entrance almost.
You'll have to get a little bit closer because you're just seeing it edge on or sideways on at the moment, so you can just see that there's a bit of a gap there, but you can't really get out any details.
Okay. Well, it's in the same direction we're heading, right? Okay,
yeah,
then
it's
just I'm going to take a closer look as we walk that way.
All right. As you approach, you notice a couple of things. First off, the material that fell into the ravine is not. It's not rock. It is, it is rock, but it's not natural rock. It has been shaped. Someone has actually built this, and it does actually look like a wall that has fallen down now. And as you see to the right, it is actually a rectangular opening.
Okay. I'm going to reach down and pick up a rock.
Yep.
I'm going to reach into my component pouch and take out some phosphorescent moss and sprinkle it on it and cast light on the stone I'm holding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to throw it into that perfectly rectangular hole.
Okay. If you're going up to that point where you can actually, you're going to be standing on now the collapsed wall and looking in. This is what you see. There are two statues. So this is roughly about 30 feet wide, this opening. And there's two broken statues there, apparently massively damaged in that earthquake we just had. And immediately behind them, about 10 feet away, are two really big square stone pillars that go from floor to ceiling. And then leaving a 10-foot gap in between them. And that fades into darkness because we are in a ravine and the sun's not quite fully up yet, so it is in shadow and it quickly becomes too dark for you to see.
Okay, so
You can throw your light rock into there if you like.
I throw it in.
Roll a dex check. Or an attack roll.
13.
It's a big hole. Not a problem. So it goes bounce, 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 and sheds light. You notice that there is a series of these square columns, 3 of them, until it goes beyond even what you can't throw it that far. You think you threw it about 40, 50 feet in, and mostly what you see is just that. So you have a 20-foot high ceiling, 30-foot wide at the opening, narrowing to 10 feet, expanding, narrowing, expanding, at least 3 times that you think.
Okay. All right, I'm going to turn to the rest of the room and say, so what does everyone think of this? Or at least you and Alberich.
Apparently, at some point in time, we know already that there are ruins up here. Because we've explored a few of them.
I think there was a time. I think we also know there was a time there was another village on the opposite end of the plateau.
Yeah. Apparently, this was some form of structure that either got buried by some seismic activity or volcanic activity. This is definitely a building that is now subterranean. So it is interesting.
It is interesting. Unfortunately, it's completely tangential to why we came here. Well, to be fair, if it was just you and me, I would say we'd go in, but this is Alberich's decision. In the theory, this is his expedition.
An unfamiliar voice pipes up at this point. Bilious.
Okay.
He looks at you and I and says, "So this is how you guys have gotten all your money, huh? You just don't want us to go in here because why? Because we'll find some money too, maybe some of our own stuff." He's being very petty about this, but he says we're going in. And he's looking straight at you.
All right. Well, that's one vote.
Well, obviously, the Bilious is on his side.
All right, that's 2 votes.
Alberich, kind of curious to tell you the truth.
Okay. All right, we can go in then.
It's just, I mean, his only concern is there was just a massive earthquake.
So it could very easily not be structurally sound.
Yes, so we should be cautious. Yep. All right, so we proceed in our marching order.
I pick up my glowing rock.
It's way down there. You have to get there first.
I walk. Okay, I'm going to cautiously walk towards my glowing rock with the intent to pick it up.
All right. So right at the very entrance, there's almost like a 2 10-foot by 10-foot alcoves with smashed statuary in it. We go through where the 2 massive stone pillars are 10 by 10 by 20 feet tall pillars on both sides. We have to narrow to 10 feet. When that opens up again into 2 more 10 by 10 alcoves, there are 2 statues in those alcoves but these ones are intact.
Okay.
Do you want to have a look at them?
Sure, I'll examine them.
Yeah. They are exquisitely detailed. I mean, down to the hair follicles and unfortunately the scars and pustules and everything else that's on these things is in vivid detail. They are probably two depictions of the most disgusting humanoids you've ever seen. They seem to be a cross between goblins, orcs, and kobolds, and seems like a mishmash of various things. And they're wearing, like I said, they got scars all over them. They have very they're wearing armor, but it looks very dilapidated. Again, in great detail. They're carrying weapons, but these weapons are broken in most cases, and well, if they were real, they'd be rusted and pitted. But it is all, they're made of stone. So that's what you see to the right and to the left, one each in them. And then, of course, we have two more of those massive 10 by 10 pillars, and then you can see there's another alcove, but you can't see what's in the alcove at the moment.
Okay. Well, have we reached my rock yet?
You have to get to the next alcove, and then you can pick your rock.
I'm going to head that way.
All right. Again, once you get there and you see the two alcoves, again, same exquisitely detailed statues, and again of rather almost disturbing looking humanoids. You've never seen them before. They just have features of these creatures. You can do a nature check if you want to see if you recognize the species.
Sure. 24.
You've never encountered them before. You're positive you've never seen anything that looks like this at all. These are amazing checks.
Yeah, I know. It didn't work.
Yeah. There are the last two massive stone pillars, and then the room opens up. Your rock is right at your feet.
Okay.
You can pick it up if you like. You notice one other thing now, because we are further in and you've lifted up the rock. There is a large stone throne at the, about another 20 feet in. And seated at this stone throne is a large human skeleton. Not human. Humanoid skeleton. It's definitely way too large to be human. We're looking at, if it were standing, maybe 8-9 feet tall. It is wearing rusted mail, rusted helmet. Everything seems like it's been there an extremely long period of time, and there's cobwebs and dust and everything else over it. But there's one thing that isn't dusty or rusted at all. Mm-hmm. It is holding its hand, like it's resting its hands on the throne, like if you had armrests. And in one hand, it's holding on to a massive warhammer. This warhammer looks like to be a coppery or bronze gold color, and it seems to be giving off its own faint light.
Ah, well, there goes me saying detect magic.
And it's also encrusted with a fair number of good-sized jewels, especially in the pommel, like the pommel of it. It seems to be a really large, nice gem. Hard to tell from this distance what it is. At this point, I want everyone to roll a wisdom saving throw, please.
Wisdom saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I finally rolled a good number.
I'm going to use the 10 portent I have, so it's going to be a 15 in total.
All right. I rolled a natural 20.
You rolled a natural 20.
Yeah. This is what you feel. You feel this urge to go up and pick it up.
Oh, no. I resist, I hope?
This is what...
I hope I resist it?
Yes, you resist. Besides, there's also a hand clapping. Not a good idea. I'm standing right beside
Yes,
you.
it's okay. We're both fine.
Albrecht is starting to step forward, but he's beaten there by Bilious, who literally sprints and grabs hold of
What
this
about
thing.
the other two?
Uh, this is what happens. The second Bilious grabs this thing, all compulsion seems to end.
Oh.
Everyone just sort of shakes their head and wonder what's going on. Bilious, on the other hand, starts to tremble. It seems like he's almost like he's having a seizure.
Oh dear.
And this is what you notice. The glow that the hammer was giving off fades, but seems to be fading by going up Bilious into his arms, into his chest. And he seems to convulse a little bit more and then stops. And he picks the hammer up. The skeleton that was hanging onto it, its hand pops off, and it's still gripping this thing.
Oh dear.
Bilious, his back is to us. We can't see his face or anything. Notices this and bashes the handle part onto the stone throne to shatter the bones and knock this off. At which point, he turns and faces us. At which point, we notice a whole pile of things happen. First off, you hear a clicking and whirring sound, and then a grinding of stone on stone. You notice his eyes have this faint glow, kind of a goldish glow to them. Roll a perception check, please.
My luck with perception was bound to fail eventually. 9. Oh.
All right. You don't notice anything initially, but the ground is shaking just a little bit. But at some point, you can't help but notice that the light in here is getting lower.
Even my glowing rock?
Even with your glowing rock, your rock is still glowing just as brightly as before, but all the ambient light in here seems to be getting much dimmer.
One before we continue. Alice wants out.
All right, go ahead.
You want out? No? You want out? Okay, she seemed a little indecisive.
That sounds like a cat.
Okay.
Okay. So light is getting dimmer. You're hearing clicking and whirring sounds and sounds of stone grinding on stone, metal on stone.
I look towards the exit that we came in.
You see those 3 sets of large pillars are trembling. Because you roll such a low perception check initially, they've already moved considerably closer to each other. And the 2 that are right at the very entrance close with a boom. The other 2 seem to grind slowly to a halt and shudder a bit and stop.
I say, we seem to be being locked in here.
Yes. Now the rest of that clicking and whirring sounds gradually fades out. During this, up to the point shortly after. Oh, right. I got a burp. All right. Just as that's all beginning to subside, Bilious speaks for the first time. And then he says, he takes the hammer and he has it on the ground in front of him. Oh, by the way, he notices also during that his mace, he just chucks his mace away. and he says, "Welcome, comrades. I'm so pleased to meet you. Hopefully we'll have great adventures together." His voice, none of the normal tenor, none of the normal, like, petty, almost sometimes he whines almost when he speaks, and you know that unfortunately very familiar way he has of speaking is all gone. He is very calm. He says, "I see our normal egress is now blocked. I suggest we search for another one." And it's also very quiet. Like, he's just calm.
Insight check.
Go for it.
$18.
All right. He is, as he appears to be amazingly composed, as in nothing would faze this guy.
Okay. I think to myself, okay, well, it's definitely a cursed hammer, but it seems to be a cursed hammer with the twist that it made him a nice person.
Maybe. We shall see.
For the moment.
You do see still that faint glow in his eyes.
On the other hand, he has suggested a sane course of action, so let's try looking for a way out of here, I guess.
Alright. This stone throne occupies pretty much the middle of this large, long hallway that we've been in. And there's about another 10 feet behind it, and if you look around the sides, you see a door. And Bilious says, "Comrades, follow me. I think we can get out through here." He steps forward, stepping onto a plate that he had not noticed. There's a click and a grinding sound, and every now and then, little tang, snap, snap, snap. But what happens is a whole pile of holes appear in the wall, and a bunch of bolts shoot out towards us.
All of us?
Bilious says in a clear voice, "Behind me, I will block them." And he attempts to interpose himself between us and the projectiles that are coming towards us. Let's see how successful he is. What is the DC on this? He is partially successful.
Okay.
Alright, so how many of them are going to make it by him? I need you to roll a Dex saving throw, please.
Okay. Good grief.
Oh, I made a saving throw finally. Holy crap. My die decided to work.
I have,
we all
I have a
save.
10.
You do not.
Yeah.
Alright, so he interposes himself with his hammer and blocks a whole pile of these things that seem to be, well, now sticking in him. You take... Oops, hold on a sec. You take 3 points of damage from a rather rusty-looking little bolt that's sticking in your shoulder.
Ow.
Yes. The rest of us are fine.
Okay. I will take the bolt out of my shoulder.
Bilious turns around, and you can see that he is...
Perforated.
has a great many of these bolts sticking in him. Roll a perception check, please.
18.
You notice that he should be taking in a lot more damage than he appears to be. He seems to be taking a lot less damage than would be expected from this many shots. You took one. He's taken half a dozen. But he seems to be relatively okay. He turns around and says to, "Comrades, are you all right?" I'm sorry. He looks at you specifically and says, "I am so sorry. I didn't manage to block them all. Are you okay?"
Yes, I've had worse. It's fine.
Okay. He says, "I'm so relieved." And he starts just pulling them out. Really doesn't seem to be taking too much concern for them. As he pulls the last one out, you notice that the glow in his eyes fades. And all of a sudden, you hear this. Ow!
Short-lived, this magic.
What has happened to me? What have you done to me? He's looking at you at this point because you're right in front of him. Why am I...
You elected to protect us from a trap.
What? You're crazy. And he looks...
Alberich just points to the other 4 members of the group for confirmation.
He looks like he's confused. He's scared. He's back to his normal whiny voice. He just doesn't understand. And he says, "Where did this thing come from?" And he tries to throw it away, but he can't let go. He says, What's going on? You're wizards. Fix this."
I say, I think you picked up a cursed artifact.
What? What does that mean?
Well, first of all, it means you're not going to be able to let go of it that easily. I'm going to take out my pearl and I'm going to identify this hammer if he's going to cooperate.
He doesn't want you anywhere near it. He doesn't want... No, as soon as you go to identify it, he moves out of the way. No, it's mine. What am I saying? I don't want this thing!
Says, yeah, welcome to adventuring.
This goes on for a while until Alberich gets sick and tired of listening to it and tells him to shut up. Because we have to get out of here still. And just take lumps. You wanted to come in here. Yeah. That part he actually remembers. So he eventually calms down enough.
So I'm not going to be able to identify this thing, obviously.
He won't let you in.
I put my pearl back in my component pouch and point to the door. That still seems like the best way out of here.
Yes. All right. You notice on the other side of the door, there's another one of those pressure plates.
Well, I'm going to pick up my rock and throw it onto the pressure plate.
Okay. Roll an attack roll.
Well, how far is this from us?
See, now we're standing there, about 15 feet away.
Seems like it's far enough. So this is just a dexterity check, right?
Yeah, you're just trying to hit it.
14.
Yep, you hit it. It's huge.
Okay.
Fortunately for you, it doesn't have enough mass.
But I wanted to trigger it when none of us were on it.
No, it's on the other side of the door. You don't have to go to it. It was just exactly identical to the one we were just on, that Bilious stepped on. You don't have to go by it. You don't need nothing. You just go to the door. You got the corridor, 2 pressure plates, and then between them is the door.
Okay. I retrieve my glowing rock without stepping on the pressure plate.
Roll a dexterity check.
6.
You're suicidal today or something?
No.
Okay. The second that your foot hits the plate, you hear a bunch of clinking and grinding and popping sounds.
It's a resetting trap.
No. This is the other one. This one hasn't gone off yet. All right. I roll a die here. You hear this in a clear, calm voice. "I will protect you." And Bilious runs up.
Oh boy.
and tackles you to the ground as a great number of these bolts go shooting out of the wall and clatter harmlessly against something. You roll really well.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're both going to get perforated. And then he, after the barrage is over, he picks you up and says, he seems really quite strong. He says, "Are you okay? I think I managed to save you this time.
It worked out.
I'm so sorry about last time and that you had to take that damage. Please let me handle these things from now on."
Okay.
And then as the danger seems to pass, the glow in his eyes fades, and he's confused. And he says, "What am I doing over here with you?" Oh, God.
I walk over to I just leave him there. I'm like, I'm going to take my staff and I'm going to cast light on that instead, so we have another light source.
All right. Yes, it is. Without the glowing rock, it is dark in here.
Well, the light cantrip's still on the rock.
Yes. So without a light spell, it is dark, pitch, total dark. Because our only light source back there is.
So I do have my staff lit up now.
Yes, and I'll do the same. So we have plenty of good light.
So we're going through that door. I say to you.
Yes.
Well, this is interesting. Apparently, Bilious is enchanted to protect us if there's danger.
Yes, I'm sure that's going to really rub him the wrong way in the long run. All right, there's a door. It's closed.
I'm going to just investigate this to see if it's locked or trapped.
Go for it.
15.
You detect neither lock nor traps.
All right, I'm going to open the door.
All right. This is actually a fair-sized room. It is, again, on the same scale, 30 feet. It is also 30 feet this way, and it's still 20 feet tall. In the center of this room, there is a plinth, and on that plinth is a statue. You hear a bit of a clicking and a whirring sound, and again, that twanginess, and all of a sudden, an image is superimposed over the actual statue. The statue is of a robed female. Looks human. Hard to tell other beyond that what she is. Looks about middle-aged. And superimposed on that now is an image of the same person, you think, because it looks like almost identical. But there's one small change, and that is the image is not solid. It seems to flicker a little bit. And the statue obviously is stationary, but the image seems to move around a bit. And it raises a hand and points at Bilious. Oh, it's hard to tell, actually, if it's Bilious or the hammer he's carrying. And this is what the statue says. "The thing that was trapped in the hammer cannot be allowed to leave. This place was designed to contain it. The rest of you may leave, but he stays, as does anything that you find here." And this, I'm giving this in a regular speech, but it is kind of halting a little bit. Every time it stops, it'll waver a little bit. It stops for a second and continues, but you do manage to pick out that few sentences. Bilious is scared crapless by this. He's still trying to throw the hammer away and says, No, you guys can't leave me. You know, we've been friends for years and years.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response, I think, to myself. And I say,
he goes on whining for a few minutes.
What?
He doesn't stop. He wants your assurance that you're not going to leave him here. So what do you say to that?
I say to that, like, a repository of cursed artifacts. And we have to... what can I say that? I have no method of dispelling, removing this curse that he's under.
Alright, while you're contemplating Bilious' future and he's trying to whine and weasel his way into your heart, there are only 2 exits to this room, besides the one we came into. To the right, there's a door, and to the left, there's a door. They're both closed. They look pretty much identical to the door we just came through.
Okay. Well, obviously we can... I'm just gonna say this. We are all getting out of here. That's about as much as I'm willing to commit to this, because, in all honesty, his insecurities are not my concern.
You notice a really interesting smile on Alberich's face, but he's obviously... we have to find a way out before it's even an issue. Yeah. So, but I think he's enjoying this a bit too much, maybe.
What about you? What about you?
I think this would make a wonderful story to tell people. But first off, we have to get out of this place and be able to go tell people. Okay. So, left or right?
Right. Because...
Hey.
Whatever difference it'll make.
The door opens up into a perfect 10 by 10... Oh, sorry. 30 by 30 by 20 foot room. Exactly the same as the one we just left. This one also has a plinth in it. But this one has a golden chalice set on top of it. Inset with gems.
I say... As soon as I see that, I say, no one touch that!
And it is filled... to brimming with gems of every color.
And
I mean, with our 2 light spells going, this thing is positively glowing with reflected light.
I just point my staff and says, "No one touch that!" I just point and just look over it, just hook a thumb at Bilious, as in...
Bilious is his weaselly self at the moment, and you see a look of avarice in his eyes as he starts to walk towards this.
I'm just watching this. I'm like, I mean, he's already cursed. It's like, being cursed twice, is that going to make any difference? Is this going to be a worse one?
Maybe. So you're not going to bother trying to convince him not to do this?
I don't know if I could. I certainly cannot restrain him or knock him to the ground.
True. You can try to verbally stop him.
Bilious, stop.
Love the enthusiasm there. He turns around and looks at you and says, "This one's mine," and picks it up. It is actually fairly substantial. He's already holding a massive hammer, right? So he can just get his fingers around it and lift it up. But it's very heavy because this is actually made out of gold. And the gems in it are... The value is staggering. And all you see is dollar signs in his eyes. He is... I don't know, whatever kind of happiness he ever experiences. He's doing it right now. That's all that's in here.
Is there an exit from this room?
The one we came in.
Okay.
That's it. The only door is the door we came through.
I say. I just wanted to Bilious, I turned to Bilious to just try putting that back down for a moment.
He looks at you suspiciously.
Remember the hammer.
And he sets it down.
Okay.
And then he picks it back. Puts it down, picks it up.
This is very odd.
Yep.
Well, there's no exit in here. I guess we try left then. The other door.
All right, so you go back into the room with the statue. Roll a perception check.
6.
Never mind. You go to the other door, and I assume you open it up. All right, this room is different for a change. It is still on the 30-foot scale from right to left, but there's a 20-foot entrance section, and then there is a truly massive circular pillar that is set so that the surface of the ground is even with the floor, and it goes for, well, out of your distance, further than your light spell can see, but you think maybe it's about 60, 70 feet
So
away.
it's basically a cylinder on its side?
Yeah, so take a cylinder, and it's horizontal, and the second we go in the room, it starts to rotate very slowly, and you hear a lot of grinding of stone on stone, and again, that familiar twangy metal springs snapping kind of sounds, and a bit of whirring.
Well, this does not look good.
The second Bilious enters this room,
Oh no.
you notice two things. First off, that grinding sound increases a little bit, and you notice here and there there's actually holes in this cylinder, and you see these pointy rods trying to poke out, but there seems to be something wrong with it. It is not operating at optimum efficiency, apparently. You notice, I mean, you're getting the opinion that a lot of the features in this area are extremely old. The other thing you notice is the chalice, the gems, there seems to be a bit of sparking coming off of it now, and some of the gems, not very many of them, are beginning to glow, and the glow seems to be getting brighter.
Oh dear.
What are you going to do?
Well, my first thought before that was to look for a mechanism on this side that turns that cylinder off.
Okay.
I'm just going to investigate the room, see if there's some way of there's a mechanism obviously that's turning that. I just wanted to see if I can find what it is and if I can disable it.
Okay. Make one roll, and then there's something else I want to tell you.
All right, well, investigation 23.
All right. So I need to roll. Hold on a sec. All right. You don't notice any mechanisms to shut that off, but you have noticed with that high roll, the chalice, the sparking gems, there seems to be 3 of those gems that are now beginning to glow much, much brighter. You can actually feel some warmth coming off from that, from the distance you're from it. And Bilious has noticed that this is getting, you can see his hands trembling a little bit.
Throw it in the other room!
He is going to make a... He drops it. He looks scared, and he runs into the other room, leaving the chalice and the glowing gems on the ground. What are you going to do? You have 2 choices. You can run after Bilious, or you can try getting across this rotating cylinder.
Well, I'm going to run after Bilious.
All right. Roll a dex check, please, and I'll roll for everybody else. Oh!
Dexterity is becoming my new bane. 3.
Total?
What?
Did you roll a
I
2?
rolled a 2 plus 1.
Believe it or not, the qualifier for this was not to roll a 1.
Oh.
Because all you had to do was just leave
Yep.
the room. The sad thing is, one of our party rolled a 1.
Who?
As you get all into the room and start to close the door, one person is missing. And it is Bilious.
Oh.
She's not. And then there is a detonation. Well, that. Oh, good God, that's not possible.
What?
I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera, but I'm going to give it a try.
3 1s.
3 1s for damage. Alright. There's a tiny, minor explosion. And like, kind of like a boop.
Someone has a fireworks.
And you open up the door, and you see Lobelia with her head covered on the floor, and there's some smoke in the room. The chalice and the gems are now gone, but it was kind of a dud. Adding more fuel to the thought that this place is not functioning anywhere near what it should be.
I think he still can't get rid of that hammer. No. So that's the part that chooses to function.
That one part is not faulty at all.
Alright.
Alright.
Well, we still only have one way to go.
Yep. It is a pit, which is quite deep. If you hold your staff over it, you get a rough estimate as about 30 feet deep.
Okay.
There's no spikes or anything at the bottom of it, but there definitely is no way for you to climb back up if you fall. And as this thing rotates, every now and then you see a spiky bit try to poke its way out. And there's a couple of them that are just jammed solid. They're not even attempting anymore. They just stay there. It is quite a large item that is moving relatively slowly. You figure it wouldn't be too hard to walk across as long as you didn't get stabbed in the foot.
Alright. Well, I guess that's the only way. That is the only way across.
Alright. Who is going to be first?
Me.
Roll a dex check, please.
Yeah, this is better. 12.
You make it across. You have to dodge some spikes, but it's actually not that hard. You find it is relatively easy to do. And you are now on the other side. You are now 50 feet away from us on the other side. And the platform on that side is identical to the one that was on this side.
On the other side, I am going to look for a way to turn this thing off.
Roll an investigation, please. Oh, there's a door.
There's a door?
There's a door
I
behind
got a
you.
natural 20.
You're fairly certain that there is no way to shut this
Oh,
off.
that's annoying. Alright, I say. It's not too hard to get across.
Alright, I am going to come next. Well, I rolled a 3? Oh, sorry. I seem to have hit a button.
So you rolled a 3.
There we go.
What is your modifier for dexterity again?
Not enough.
I know it's higher than mine.
I fall. Fortunately,
Feather fall.
I have feather fall. And I cast Featherfall so I don't go splat on the ground taking 3d6 damage. Alright, Albrecht is next.
I'm going to take up my... While he's crossing, I'm going to take up my 50 feet of hempen rope. I'm going to look for something on this side to tie it to and lower it down to you.
There isn't anything to tie it to, but if there's enough people on that side, it's quite easy for us.
Then I guess I'm waiting.
Climb up. Yeah, Albrecht makes it fine. Bilious rolls exactly on the DC.
So she's across.
So
she's across.
She's across. The other guard. No problem. And now it is Bilious' turn. At this point, there's enough people there that you easily haul me out. As Bilious goes to approach this thing, something happens. It starts to grind and shake, and it starts to speed up.
No.
It is now spinning a lot faster. And he's on the other side, and he is not happy about this because he has to make it across. And why is it me? The whining at this point is just getting to the point where you wouldn't mind taking that hammer, enduring the curse, just so you can beat him with it. It is that bad.
It's the hammer, I say. We have to find some way of getting rid of it.
He has no choice. Eventually we tell him that there's only one way across. And he points at me and says, if I fall, you better save me. And he rolls! A 3.
3?
Yep.
I don't think he's got a dex modifier. Oh, he does.
No.
Plus 1.
Nowhere near enough. As he starts to fall and go over, you notice that calm comes across him. His eyes start to glow. It's just, save your resources, I'll be fine. And he falls off. And he takes... far less damage than I think he should take. He lands. Oh, that was a bit uncomfortable. And he stands up and he says, I would appreciate a rope.
Yeah, okay, we're going to lower down. The 4 of us will lower down my rope.
Yeah. And he gets up. He says, thank you very much. That was very kind of you. And the glow fades.
You're up too, right?
Yeah, I was up before him. And at this point, oh! He goes to me and grabs with his free hand and says, you must have some healing potions. I know your mother gives them. I need a healing potion. Listen. Alright. You may actually need them.
Okay, that has to be a deception check.
Oh, well, alright. I'll do a deception, he'll do an insight.
Oh, boy.
My deception was 6. He doesn't like it, but he accepts the fact that I told him that I don't have one to give to him.
What did he roll?
Oh, it's terrible. It's funny when these things happen.
I know, we had an entire session of it the last time.
Yep.
No matter how bad you rolled, everyone rolled worse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So we are across. And now we have a door in front of us.
Okay, I'm going to open the door.
The door opens into a 30 by 30 foot room with a 20-foot ceiling.
Yes.
But this time, on the left-hand wall, which is actually heading back in the direction we originally came from, there are 2 10-foot corridors stretching off into the distance. One to the north, one to the south.
Okay, well, north. What?
No. they're both heading west because we came in from the west. There's a north hand corridor and there's a south hand corridor.
So both of these are heading in the direction we entered from.
Yes, they seem to be heading back towards where we originally entered this complex.
Okay, that's good. My familiar's gone.
And
would you mind sending your owl down to check these two out?
All right. Which one first?
The southern one, I guess.
All right. Let's see. Southern one. My owl flies down, which is it's 20-foot high ceiling, so it's actually not that difficult for her to do. And she will investigate. Well, look. She flies all the way to the end, lands on the ground, flies all the way back. There doesn't seem to be anything down there.
All right, let's check the north one, I guess. Yep.
Same thing. Flies all the way down. Look through her eyes, and I can. Oh,
so something with the wall down there.
There might be a door here. Yeah, it's pitch dark, so it's hard to tell. It could be a door. It is too difficult to tell. There's literally no light.
That sounds like north might be the way to go then.
Right. All right. As soon as the party or group enters this hall, there's a bit of a familiar grinding and clicking and whirring sound starts up. And you notice that there are sections of, you're not sure what the material is, but there's basically, think of them as portcullises or sliding panels or door or whatever, all along here, now descending.
Oh, joy.
What are you going to do? You have a very short period of time to choose. Either run to the end or stay here.
Run to the end and hope that there's an exit.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, what am I going to do here?